Derek's watching, by the way.
I want to publicly apologise to Derek Chisora.
It was heroic in so many ways, wasn't it?
It was more than heroic, Spence. It was almost like superhuman. Yeah, but it also puts Joyce now in that sort of Derek Chisora mould,
right,
if you will, as, you know, the guy that's always the bridesmaid and not the bride. You see what I mean?
Terence Crawford, for me, welterweight, would live with any welterweight in any era.
Wrong. I have to correct you there.
Please,
no,
listen,
this is just my opinion. He might not be the most skillful guy in the world, but he's got a heart as big as a bucket.
Welcome to Talk Boxing, episode number 81. Now, Simon Jordan's still away, but do not worry. We've got freeweight world champion, Mr. Duke McKenzie, in the chair. My old sparring partner, Duke. How you doing, mate?
I'm ready, Spence. I'm ready, mate.
Lack of sleep. I feel like we've just come from the O2.
The O2.
Like literally. I mean, how was it for you, by the way? Like I got out that O2. We're going to talk about obviously Derek Chisora, Joe Joyce, that heroic performance from Derek right now. But I just want to ask you, mate. So I drove there.
Yeah.
Right, you had a driver, you know what I mean? Driver. So I drove.
Driver.
Freeweight world champion.
Talent.
You know what I mean? European. I drove. Anyway.
You know it, brother.
So I drove there, mate. I come out of the car park, yeah?
Yes.
So we was parked in this special little bay. Told you, that's all right, you'll have a quick exit, lovely. 3 hours, shoot. You know what I mean? 3 hours, it's like 20 miles away.
Listen,
unbelievable.
well,
got in at 2:45?
Yeah,
something like that.
Me too,
Yeah.
Spence. I was in it for 2:45, but I had Denzel Washington in the back of my car. You seen Denzel Washington in training day? He was in the back and he was saying, you know, hey, listen. He said, I'm not that guy. That's what he said.
You actually rung me up, didn't you, in the motor? Yeah. And I was like, what's going on here? He was having a party in the car or something. What's going on?
I had Romario Denzel Washington in the back of the car and he was like, I'm not that guy.
That's it. Well, listen, we've got a great show for you today, actually, and we got this running order. So, like, let's just say, what time is it now? It's 2 o'clock. You was meant to be here at 1. So it's like 2 o'clock. Romario, I'm like, where's a running order, mate?
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, late night, mate. Sending it over. It was like 11:30, 12. So forgive me if it's a little bit sketchy. No, I'm just joking. Look, let's get into it.
Yeah,
Derek Chisora, Joe Joyce. I mean, look, we always knew it was going to be a barnstormer. You can apologise first if you want.
I'm going to apologise. Hang on a minute.
Go down there, mate.
What camera do I look into?
Go down there.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Derek's watching, by the way.
I want to publicly apologise to Derek Chisora. Not only am I apologising for saying that he wasn't going to win the fight, there was a string of people that I'd spoken to previously saying Chisora's finished, he's washed up, he's never going to win the fight. So I'll publicly put my hands up. I got it wrong, Spence.
I've got to tell you, Duke, right? The guy's been written off so many times, you know, and we're all guilty of saying, look, I mean, I've had conversations with Derek. We go back a long way since he was a 16-year-old kid when he very first started boxing. My dad trained him, my uncle. Like, you know, I've got a great relationship with him outside of boxing. Right. And I've said to him, rang him up and went, Del, boy, that's it now, mate. I think it was after even the Joe Parker fight when he boxed Joseph Parker, and that was a while ago now. I rang up and went, Del, do you know what? You've been an amazing ambassador for the sport. I said, you know, you've been entertaining, you know, you fill arenas. Time to hang them up, mate. You know, go into something else, management, training, whatever. You know, and the guy just keeps delivering, keeps proving. He went to me, this was Derek's answer to me back then.
Go on.
Did you enjoy the fight? I went, unbelievable, mate.
Yeah.
He said, was you entertained? I went, unbelievable. He said, was everyone in the arena entertained? I went, absolutely. He went, there's your answer. Well, you know he went, so that when you know, until you see me turn up and I don't deliver, he said, the day I don't deliver, give me that phone call. And I tell you what, Duke, last night, we was guilty of it. I was guilty of it as well, because I thought, you know what, I love Del, and he might go out on his shield, and if he makes a final bell, to me, that's a moral victory. But I think Joe may get him down the stretch.
Yeah.
How wrong was we, mate? I mean, where was he finding that from? First of all, as an ex-boxer, please explain to these people, where does a guy, I mean, that is inhumane, really.
Yeah.
Like the depths that he went there, Duke. We've been in those situations. Well, I don't know if I have been in that situation. Yeah. Where did he find it from?
Well, obviously the heavyweights have got a bigger engine. He's got a big engine, and I didn't give him enough credit for thinking he could actually go to the well again and turn it around. I was discussing this morning over breakfast with my wife. I nearly choked on my bacon again, you know, Spence.
That was lunch, by the way, mate. When you put that on our WhatsApp
for me,
group,
lunch for you.
WhatsApp group, right? Some WhatsApp group like 11 o'clock or something. He's like, just having breakfast with a wife and we're discussing the fight. I went, mate, I've just had lunch. You know what I mean?
Spend the honest, I nearly choked on my bacon, mate. It was unbelievable. Listen, you know, honestly, two things really struck me about Derek Chisora before the fight, which made me half question if he was going to do something special. And the first thing was when he said was, I'm going to entertain the public.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. And the second thing was when we saw him at the weigh-in, Spence, he actually looked half fit. Because, you know, he don't always come and, you know, looking good. But yeah, and I thought to myself, nah, surely not. You know, he can't really do it again, or at least put up another one of these blockbusting performances, you know, where he's just, it ebbs and flows, it goes up and it goes every which way but loose. And honestly, what you saw last night, they have to do a movie on that.
Yeah,
you could do a film on it. Because you couldn't write a script like that.
Whatever you think of Derek Chisora, he's become a national treasure. You can't say that. You can't say that he's not, because the guy entertains. And what I saw last night, Duke, we're guilty of this, by the way. We're both guilty of this, and I apologise for this. We were doing comms last night, and, you know, in round 9, we're going, you know, I think we've seen enough now. God. You know, Derek Chisora, because he was trotting around and he was like, I'm going, look, Del, I love you, mate, and I know that you know, I know you got huge balls, but now this is becoming painful to watch. Out of nowhere, right hand comes, boom, puts Joyce on the seat of his pants.
He was just starting to totter and stumble around. He'd run out of steam, he'd run out of ideas. He was really, you know, he was at 6s and 7s, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that right hand came over the top and just put Joyce out like a lot. Do you know what? It was one of the most exciting finishes I think I've seen, because he looked like he was going to get stopped. If he would have stopped it 10 seconds sooner, you couldn't have argued it.
And the bizarre thing was, like you say, like a Rocky movie in many ways, it was like Joyce gets up and then he comes back and then Derek's trottering around again, and you're thinking, end of round 9 goes, you think he comes out for round 10, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure he's going to make the belt for the round 10. It was still Joyce that was on top, and Derek from somewhere was biting down on that gum shield, showing that mental strength that he's got, and he just kept coming back. I mean, it was heroic in so many ways, wasn't it? It
was more than heroic, Spence. It was almost like superhuman, because you know what? When you're tired and you're desperate in a fight and you make mistakes and you're getting paid, look at his face. And after the fight, he could hardly stand. He had to sit in his corner and get some medical assistance. They got the doctor in to check him over a bit lively, which is, you know, common procedure.
Yeah.
But honestly, what he did last night was really heroic. And like I say, those kind of fights, they stay with you, Spence. They don't leave you. They stay with you for the rest of your life. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
Last night would have been the time to have gone, you know what? I'm going out on my shield. I've won this one. A massive fight for him. I mean, normally when Derek Chisora steps up, he comes unstuck. This time he stepped up and he's won. He's coming out a winner. And there wouldn't have been a more fitting time for him to go, you know what, this is it. I'm at the O2, I'm in front of my own people. The love that was in that arena last night was all for Derek Chisora. I've never seen so many people, God's honest truth, I've never seen so many people thinking to themselves, let's just hope he wins. Let's just hope he wins. And when he actually won that fight, the place erupted.
Yeah.
Honest, Spence, it went absolutely bonkers.
It was insane, mate. Listen, it was fight number 10, at that O2 Arena. And he said that was the last fight he's going to be there. So it was a farewell from him. We saw that he was emotional all week. I got in the ring, actually, interviewed him afterwards. The emotions were clear to see. You know, he talked about that, you know, having to let go of what he calls his home of boxing. But straight off the back of that, he said, 2 more, Spence. I got 2 more left. That was fight number 48. He said, I said, where next, Del? Where do you go? Now, that's what I want to ask you, Duke. Where does he go? Because he's going to fight 2 more times. He said, Manchester next. It's like he's saying goodbye to all the places that he's loved. But off the back of that victory, where does that put him? Where do you see? I'll tell you a good fight. I'll tell you a fight that I like for Del Boy.
Go on.
And I think he deserves it.
Go on.
Deontay Wilder. Do you know why? Because he's a big name. Mate. He's a big name.
Now you're talking.
He's at that stage of his career as well. And I go, you know what? Del Boy now is coming off Gerald Washington. He's got a good win over Joyce. Deontay Wilder. Could you imagine he wins that? He's a fan favourite, Derek. And you go,
sure.
That's the sort of fight. What do you reckon about that fight?
That's a good shout, Spence. The Wilder fight, if Wilder decides to come out of retirement, because he's announced his retirement. If he decides to come out of retirement and says to himself, you know what, I've got a little bit more left in me. You know, the Chisora fight would be absolutely spot on, because they're both at the same stage of their careers, aren't they? Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
We want Derek Chisora to retire. Deontay Wilder's retired, but if Wilder comes out of retirement, these two could go at it, maybe over in Saudi.
Yeah.
Maybe the Sheikh guy would stick this one on one of his cards, topping the bill over there, or even over here.
Who wouldn't want to see that fight again? I mean, you could do the return on that on any undercard anywhere, or that could even top of the bill anywhere, because for me, I mean, it was a great fight. Where does Joe Joyce go next?
That's a tough shout, Spence. That's his third loss back-to-back now.
Yeah.
The two Zhilijiang
well, he had the Cash Ali win, but that was, in between that.
But you can't really.
Yeah, I
got to
understand what you mean.
that because he struggled in that.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
There are obviously signs there now. If you look at Joe Joyce's record of deterioration.
Yeah.
In his whole sort of makeup. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't really know where Joe Joyce goes from now. A nice long holiday in the Caribbean somewhere. That would be his first point in call.
Yeah.
Try and switch off from the sport, not think about the sport. Forget Derek Chisora right now. Do you see what I mean? But they could sell that again. They could do that one again, certainly. Chisora and Joyce again, 2 at the O2 or anywhere, to come to think of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely see signs of deterioration in Joe Joyce. And the God's honest truth is, I don't really know where he goes now.
I mean, look, he's at that stage, isn't he, Joe Joyce, now? Because he's 38 years of age, and it's all about, can you go rebuilding, or do you have to go back straight into a big fight of some sort of magnitude? Like, for Joe, it's a difficult road back, to be fair. It was a must-win fight for him in many ways. With Derek, we know where he was at. Like, you know what I mean? He's there, and you go, you know what you're going to get. And if he loses, well, he's always going to be there for someone else or whatever, and you're going to get entertained. But him getting the victory gives him now another opportunity somewhere. But for Joe Joyce, tough comeback.
Yeah, but it also puts Joe Joyce now in that sort of Derek Chisora mould,
right,
if you will, as, the guy that's always the bridesmaid and not the bride. You see what I mean? Because obviously we know about Chisora when he stepped up previously and he hasn't kind of pulled it off. Now Joe Joyce has stepped up and he's not pulled it off. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, if, you wouldn't want to see Joe Joyce right now in against Moses Atoma.
Yeah.
Would you?
No, but this is the point, right? Now, we'll talk about him in a bit, actually. Moses Atoma, who was on the undercard. For me, performance of the night, by the way, against Marius Vac. I thought that he put in a performance, because Marius Vac was put there to give him rounds. We've seen Vac, not so long ago, not pushing Fraser Clark, but taking him the 10-round distance. Admittedly, it was very hot there in New York all that night, but, he gave Fraser something to think about. But the demolition job that Moses Atoma done on Marius Vac was impressive. Look, I know Vac's at that stage of his career, and he's like, he's been around forever, and he's at that stage of his career, but the guy's you still got to do a job on him, and he's done that, Joe.
Yeah. He's young, he's hungry, he's quick, he's got really quick hands, and he hasn't, obviously not nowhere near reached his potential yet, but it looked so good last night, he really did. I like the way he was just setting up. He didn't rush anything, kept everything nice and steady. Do you see what I mean, Spence?
Yeah.
But his best attribute is the fact that he's the southpaw stance. He'll get away with absolute daylight robbery.
Do you know what though? Timing, you know what I mean? Like, he was, what was he, 17 stone 1 there. Marius was like a 20 odd stone. He was ginormous, weren't he? Like, big head and big figure, and you thought his timing and his precision was just first class, like you say, controlling that space, southpaw stance, very explosive on the attack. Yeah. It was a demolition job, man. I look at that and go, kid's 19 years of age, he's now 10-0, 8 KOs, and you go, I spoke to Frank Warren about it, actually, and I said to Frank, where'd you put him? Where'd you see him sitting in the British heavyweight scene right now? And he said, Fraser Clark, have him tomorrow.
All day long.
Have him tomorrow.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah. That's where he sees him, in that sort of bracket. So you're talking like Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley. He's saying he's catching up very, very quick.
He's catching up very, very fast. You wouldn't have any hesitation in putting him in with Fraser Clark or Fabio Wardley.
Right.
Or, whoever the British champion is at this point. Yeah. That's exactly where that kid should be right now. He's that good.
How good could he be? Let's say 19 years of age. Yeah, Frank Warren, one thing that Frank Warren is very good at, and the team, Queensberry, one thing they're very good at managing and guiding a fighter, and just taking their time. Ricky Hatton's a prime example. What was he, 25 fights before he boxed John Faxon for the British title? But the way that they took their time and let him develop and learn his trade, and sort of the apprenticeship, if you like. Yeah. Timing's everything in boxing, right, Duke?
And I think
with Moses, it's going to be one of those situations you go, it's going to be more difficult to hold him back than to let him go. Yeah. And that can be tricky.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Do you see what I mean? But what they might do is take the kid stateside.
Right.
and get him half a dozen fights in America. Do you see what I mean? And expose him to the American audience, because that's where he's going. It won't be that long before this kid's topping bills.
Yeah.
You know, probably in America. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah.
they obviously they know what they're doing, and they'll get him the right exposure, the right fights at the right time. But certainly on a domestic scene, he could be British champion anytime soon.
Really? Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
listen, it's all about activity is key,
sure.
and you know, Frank's doing a great job with
Frank
that.
did say he was going to keep. He goes every 6-8 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And just going to keep him active, keep him mobile. Do you know what I mean? He's not a big heavyweight. He's an athletic heavyweight, which maybe that's why he moves so well. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got a heavyweight body, but he fights like a light heavyweight because he's just so quick. He's got like cat-like reflexes.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, want to move on. What a fantastic card, by the way. You go right down the bill, and we rarely get that these days.
That wasn't a bad fight. I can't remember, Spence, the last time I went to a boxing show and enjoyed every fight, from the 4 rounds to the 6 to the 8 to the 10s.
Yeah.
You know, to the main event, obviously with Chisora and Joe Joyce. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
And every fight was captivating. Every fight had ebbed and flowed, had twists and turns.
It really did, mate. You know, super bantamweight European title, my old title.
Oh, mate.
Dennis McCann versus Bellew.
Yeah.
What an incredible fight. Now, they had a technical draw last time out. Dennis McCann picked up a bad cut, York call in the 9th round, I believe it was. But I spoke to Dennis. We both did, actually, didn't we? We spoke to him at the weigh-in.
Likeable kid, isn't he?
Very likeable guy. And we said, listen, mate, it's all about adaptability, how you can adapt. Can you go away, work on stuff? And this is going to show us now how good you are as a fighter and how you can change things around. Well, he dominated from the opening bell, mate. He'd done his homework and he'd done it. And Belluta didn't have an answer. And I thought that he won it convincingly. I thought it was a first-class performance, coming-of-age performance in many ways.
Yeah. It certainly was a coming-of-age performance, and he did show a lot of signs in that fight where he could adapt. Do you know what I mean? He upped the pace, dropped the pace, knew when to use the jab. There was some nice upper body movement from him, you know, rolling in, rolling out, making the other guy miss and making him pay. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That was all quite impressive. And his stamina also, because that Belluta, he was a strong guy, physically very strong.
Yeah.
Might not be the most technical guy in the world, but physically very strong. Do you see what I mean?
Them unpredictable ones, though, Duke. Like Belluta's one of them ones where, like you say, his hands come from everywhere and he's all over the place, dangerous with the head, and them guys are difficult to deal with, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean? To get a hold of, get control of a contest. But like Dennis, after I think 2 or 3 rounds, he got control of it, didn't he? He found the range with a jab, and Belluta started getting wild, and he was taking that half a step back and showed a great boxing IQ in there.
Yeah, I like him, McCann, and there's more to come from him because he's going to have to up his game again when he goes to world level.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
He's at that European level now, which makes him world class, obviously. But when he ultimately fights for a world championship, he's going to have to step up yet again and show another side. Do you see what I mean? Because obviously world champions can adapt at any given point.
Well,
they can box, they can fight, they can do it all. You know, so we'll see.
Look, you've done that. You've jumped. You've done the whole European level up to world level and everything. How big a jump is that, and how difficult is it to make that transition?
Well, again, it comes down to the fights that he has in between now and actually fighting for a world championship.
And what would your advice be to that? Like, so you go, like, he's 23 years of age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, he's at the beginning of his career. He's still at that stage where he's learning all the time. He's not the finished article. What would your advice be to him there? Would it be a defence, another couple of defences before going on to international stuff, America stuff?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
What would you say?
A couple of defences of the European title, or at least one defence, you know, maybe even have one here and one abroad. I know that's a risky thing to do, or even suggest to make a defence of a European title abroad, but it builds character and it builds mental strength, knowing that you've been abroad, defended your European title, because that makes you a world-class fighter. And I'm not saying he's not world-class, because he's still building, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But that would be a good step for him, you know? But look, even if he gets a European title defence over here, then maybe get a couple of international 10-rounders against some world-ranked fighters. Not world champions, but former champions. Do you see what I mean? Guys that are just starting to slip a little bit, you know? That they can take him that 10 rounds, 10 hard rounds. You know, get him someone classic to box, a classy boxer instead of a brawler. Do you know what I mean? So we see different sides of Dennis McCann. We know he can handle that brawling style, but can he handle a boxer? Do you know what I mean? Someone that's like himself, that can pop that jab and move on him, give him different things to think about, you know?
Can he become a world champion, you think?
He's definitely got it.
Yeah.
He's definitely got what it takes to become world champion. Again, it's just about what happens between now And when the opportunity comes, because it's going to come, you know, he'll be probably in the top 10 of all the 4 major governing bodies right now. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's whether they take a risk and don't build him up anymore, and they go, right, he's ready for a world championship, which personally I don't think he is right now, as you just said. Maybe another 2-3 fights down the line, and then potentially you're looking at a world champion.
Listen, that's 2 barnstormers we talked about last night. I want to move on and want to make it a trio, a hat trick, if you like. We had Ryan Garner versus Archie Sharp, an absolute barnstormer again, English welterweight title.
Yeah.
I think Archie Sharp, 25-0, 9 KOs. He was the kid. I know that Garner was unbeaten as well going into this one, but he was the less experienced, and Archie Sharp was the one who had formerly been WBO #1 and whatnot. And people expected him to win that one, but Ryan Garner ripped up the script, man. He went in there and he took the fight to him, and Sharp couldn't get into any sort of rhythm, could he? I mean, but another barnstormer, man.
Well, Sharp kept switching from left to right, right to left, and then when that didn't work for him, he decided to try and stand and trade, and that was his undoing, really, because he held his feet for too long, and he got them nasty cuts, and then he went back to trying to trade some more. Then he changed his mind again and started the fleet-footedness and getting around the ring, trying to stay out of the way, but it didn't work for him in the end, and ultimately he came up short.
Yeah, he did, mate, but it was... do you know what I loved about that fight? About the opportunity, and with Garner, he's done it sort of like he's gone under the burner, if you like. He's a tough kid who's come and he's fought for his opportunity, and he's got that opportunity, and he's taking it with both hands. I mean, I love that about the sport. Do you know what I mean? Like, Archie Sharp is a great little fighter himself, and inactivity maybe played a part there with him, because he was flying, and then he's been a bit quiet in recent times, but. What a performance from Garner, man. Yeah. Like, he really did put it all in, didn't he?
You know, Garner's all heart. He might not be the most skillful guy in the world, but he's got a heart as big as a bucket. And he held his shape throughout it. I mean, even when things weren't quite going his way, he still held his shape when he was giving away a lot of height and a lot of reach. But he managed to get close enough and do enough damage. And once the other kid got cut and everything, then he became more sort of disorientated, if you will. And that allowed Garner to press him and just keep the pressure on him for the whole duration of the fight.
Sure. Listen,
the right man won.
Listen, we've got to mention him, Adam Ahmed, our old mate Nazim Hamid's son. I mean, how weird is it? Like, do you know what I mean? I go like, seems like yesterday we were boxing. You know what I mean? And then you go like, all of a sudden we're watching our mate Naz. We're watching his son box in the professional ranks. It's just like, where's the time gone?
It's mad, isn't it?
Where's the time gone?
Yeah.
Did you see Naz there, by the way?
I did see Naz. Yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to speak to him, but
you was going to box him, weren't you?
It was mooted once or twice. If I'd have won the Robinson fight, which I didn't, then obviously the Hamid fight was the next one for me. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. But I came unstuck. But just going back to his son, I feel just a little bit sorry for the boy, only because he has to follow in his father's footsteps.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
You know, everybody will point the finger of expectation at him, looking for similarities, and the truth is there are none. The similarities are by name. You know, Nazim Hamid was such an exceptional one-off kind of a fighter, and obviously his son's more stylistic, southpaw, hands up, uses his range. He can go on and probably, be quite very, very good in the sport. You see what I mean?
You've got to take the time with him, right?
Yeah, sure. However, he's only had 2 fights, no amateur pedigree, so, it's got to be a very, very slow process for the boy. You see what I mean? But that finger of expectation is already pointing at him. That's his dad. Yeah. And Nazim Hamid's his dad. How good is the boy going to be? Do you see what I mean? That can cripple you, mentally.
I totally agree, mate. He's always going to live in his dad's shadows. But listen, what shadows to live in, mate? Where would you put Naz, by the way, as when you look at all-time British boxers? Like, where would Naz fit? Because I know where I put him. Yeah. Right, because we grew up together, we sparred together, boxed for England together. Like, you know what I mean? So I know Naz very, very well. But like when he beat Robinson to win the world title and all that, I go, in his day, Naz has to be in the top 3 British all-time greats.
The top 3 all-time British greats. That's a big shout.
I know, Spence. It's a big shout, mate. That's what I'm asking you.
Well, let me put it to you this way. He'd be in my all-time top 10. He'd be in my own personal...
10?
He'd be in my all-time top 10.
Top 5?
I mean, I don't know. I ain't checked my top 10 for a little while. You've got to give me something
hold on. I'll give you 30 seconds. Have a little...
No, I need more than that, Spence. I'm older than you, mate. I need to sit down and write things down and then check it with my glasses. Do you know what I mean? No, listen, he would definitely be in my all-time top 10, all-time British world champions. Make no mistake about that. I think 17 world title fights, 16 wins, 1 defeat. at world level.
Yeah.
I think out of the 17 fights he had, correct me if I'm wrong, do your notes, mate, I think he stopped 16 of the 17.
Yeah, but I was going to say to you, listen, I won't correct you because you could be right there. Look, I'm getting old as well, mate. I need to do a little bit of research as well. But I think that it was the manner that he dispatched some of the great fighters that he boxed.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You look at that and you just go like, you forget how good he was. When people go back and they have a look on YouTube at Naseem Hamed and see him, you go, the kid was just entertainment, man.
Well, not only was he entertainment, but some of the guys that he knocked out were good fighters. Solid fighters.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Alessia, who was a brilliant little Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
And, you know, he hurt Hamed at one point.
Yeah.
I think the fight only went 2 or 3 rounds. But when Hamed hit this kid with an uppercut, he nearly took his head off.
Yeah, it was Vasquez, that, you know, another great fighter.
And obviously the Steve Robinson fight was a sensational victory for Hamed, given Robinson's size, and I know because I boxed Robinson, and how strong, physically strong he was, but Hamed handled him.
Fair to say, though, you boxed Robinson at a time maybe when you were sort of like,
what does that mean? Does that mean I'm just...
Mate, you're not at your best.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I just
not at your best.
Okay.
Just being polite, you know what I mean? I mean, listen, in your day, mate, at the top of your game, you're a tough man to beat.
Listen, it's not for me to say, but I mean, listen.
I'm saying it.
I appreciate that, I really do. You know, I mean, listen, it is what it is. It was what it was.
It's a great career.
It's still nice to challenge. Obviously, I would love to have won, but I challenged for 4 world championships. So, you know, that ain't bad.
Listen, you're in that elite club, mate, 3-weight world champion. Not bad at all. We're talking about elite fighters, pound for pound stars.
Yeah.
Terence Crawford, boxing this week, Saturday.
Yeah.
Madrinov's the opponent. Israel Madrinov is the opponent.
Yes.
Now Crawford, 40-0, 31 KOs, 4-weight world, looking to become a 4-weight world champion. Stepping up to super welterweight, light middleweight.
Light middleweight.
You'd understand that better, probably.
Yeah.
You know, going, light middleweight.
Oh, yeah.
But again,
junior middleweight.
Madrinov, who's what is he? He's 10-0 with 1 draw, technical draw.
Yeah.
But you look at him, he won the WBA title last time out. Very, very tough. Southpaw, comes forward, quite crude, throws that left hand, backhand, but falls over his feet a little bit. You just look at Crawford and you just go, he's a more polished fighter. You look at Crawford and you go, yeah, I'm going to give you one.
Go on.
Just before we break down the fight. Terence Crawford, for me, shall I go first? I'll go first. Terence Crawford, for me, welterweight, would live with any welterweight in any era.
Wrong. I have to correct you there.
Please,
no, listen. This is just my opinion.
Yeah,
it's just my opinion.
That's only my opinion.
Right? Now, when we're talking about great welterweights, and you start talking the likes
I know you talk about Sugar Ray Leonard
and Sugar Ray Robinson,
Sugar Ray Robinson
and the
all
real
that.
greats of the sport, the Roberto Durans, the Tommy Hearns. Do you see what I mean?
Would Crawford live with Duran?
I don't believe so.
No?
No, I don't believe so. I think
Crawford's a great fighter, mate.
I know he's great. He's great. He's a modern day great, not an all-time great.
Really?
That's just my opinion.
Wow.
For what it's worth.
Big shout, Duke.
Well, listen, for what it's worth.
Oh, it's worth a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing.
No, I respect you. I respect it.
You can only beat what's put in front of you, right? Or fighters that are there at the time. And if you look at some of the guys that Duran beat at welterweight, like Pepino Cuevas, who was a real tough, round-ass Mexican guy. Yeah, listen.
Where are you finding that from?
Oh, because I did throw sort of I'm older than you, don't forget.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is...
Considerably older.
What I'm saying is like, you've got to check your book for your top 10, but I go, now you're throwing names at me, I'm going, hold on, Duke. Hold on, Duke.
Nothing wrong with the long-term memory, it's the short-term memory. Who are you again?
Right,
do you know what I mean?
Just call me matey boy.
Well, listen, matey boy. When you look at some of the real hard, battle-hardened welterweights of that generation, do you see what I mean? The Durans, you know, Pepino Cuevas, do you see what I mean? Dave Boy Green was a tough, you know, a British fighter at welterweight, do you know what I mean? Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns at welterweight, you know, these guys were sensational.
Mate, Sugar Ray Leonard, Dave Boy Green, that was a bad knockout, wasn't it?
It was a bad knockout.
That was a bad knockout. Why did you bring that up?
Well, because I told you I'm from a different generation to you, so you know it flipped it into my mind. So I thought I'd just let that one out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant. Well, look, Crawford's boxing this Saturday, Madronov. I mean, good fight, but for me,
or a light middleweight.
no, this is like the super welterweight for you lot, light middleweight for you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So he's looking to become a 4-weight world champion. I believe he can do it. I think Madronov's style is made for Crawford. Crawford is so slick. He boxes as good orthodox as he does southpaw.
Yeah.
Timing is great. You know, we look at his last fight when he boxed Errol Spence Jr. and you just look at the manner that he took Errol Spence apart, the way that he done it with the ease that he done it. That's why I'm looking at that going, wow, how many more levels has this guy got?
Yeah.
Lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, 2 undisputed world titles. You know, you know, you look at that and you go, he's now moving up to super welterweight, and I believe he beats Madronov, and there's other big fights out there for him. But you know, where's the ceiling with this guy? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's a great fighter.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say he's a modern day great, not an all-time great.
No, but could he become an all-time great? He's 36, though.
It depends on how high up the weight divisions he goes. Certainly, because this is his 4th move up in weight.
Yeah.
And then the good and the great can do 4 weights, 5 weights, 6 weights. Do you see what I mean, Spence?
Yeah.
It will be very interesting to see how he handles Madronov, who's rugged, when I say rugged, I mean physically very strong.
Yeah.
You know, because he's not a bad little stylist, Madronov.
Yeah, but he's a little bit like, he falls over his front foot a little bit and all that, and I go, you can't do that with Terence.
No.
Because he will make you pay, man.
Yeah.
At that level, you go, like, them little fundamental mistakes is the difference between winning and losing. And I think that's where Madronov, like you say, he's a great boxer, but Terence Crawford, for me, is elite. And I think that's maybe the difference.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm not questioning just how good Terence Crawford is. You know, I just think he has everything. You know, he can box, he can punch, knows when to switch it up.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So Madronov, he is made for him. When I say made for him, you know, because Madronov jumps around a lot, doesn't he? He likes to catapult, springboarding off his jab, the backhand even, he has to catapult off that and try. But the moves that he'll try with Crawford, they probably won't work. Because Crawford can read you like a book.
Listen, they're talking about, I think Turkey Al Sheikh has mentioned this, that his appetite really for Terence Crawford boxing Canelo.
Wow.
You know, like, and I think that's why he's moving through the weights. And they're taking Madronov at like 154, and then they want to move up to 160 and all that. Oh. Is that a fight you'd like to see? I mean, that's a fantasy fight for sure.
Yeah. That fight really gets your juices flowing. It does, Spence. Now, I would love to see Spence against Canelo anywhere, anytime.
Crawford.
Sorry, I'd love to see Crawford. Did I say Spence?
Yeah, I'm Spence.
Well, that's because I thought you, right? Yeah, I thought you. And remember, I said my long-term memory's all right. Listen, so I'd love to see Crawford.
I ain't coming back, mate. I don't even think I can make 154, mate. I won't start you off, though.
Don't start me off.
And listen, look. Let's talk about Duke.
Go on.
Let's move away from that. I'll let you have a little breather.
Okay.
Right, but that is a fight that we want to see. Crawford versus Canelo would be a dream fight for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like modern day eras and all the rest of it. I want to go pound for pounds. Where would you put Terence Crawford in today's pound for pound list? Now, I know that you're going to struggle with that.
Okay.
So let me...
Well,
no, what I'm saying, because I know your long term is good, but short term maybe.
No, I'm on it.
All right, hold on. I'm going to go. Here we go.
Go on.
I'm going to give you it, and then you tell me where you think Crawford sits in this.
Go on.
This is the current box rec rankings, yeah.
Yeah.
Alexander Usyk #1.
Okay.
Agree?
This is box rec, right?
Yeah. This is Ring Magazine's top 10 pound for pound, yeah.
A Shorts Ring Magazine, not on anybody else now.
No.
Because a minute ago you did say something else.
I thought it was box rec, but I've just checked myself.
Okay, right, let's go.
I had a little relapse, just check myself when it's Ring Magazine, right?
Let's go, baby.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, go on, hit me.
Tell me if you agree with this, yeah? Alexander Usyk, #1.
Don't agree.
What do you reckon? Hold on. Naoya Inoue, #2.
Don't agree.
He don't agree.
Nah.
Terence Crawford, #3.
Oh, no, Terence Crawford's #1. No, he's #1.
Here we go. Right. Canelo Alvarez, #4. I think that's too high. What do you reckon?
No, four's about right for Canelo.
Jesban Rodriguez, #5.
No, I'd have him in at #2.
Okay. Artur Beterbiev,
#3.
#3.
Yeah, Beterbiev's #3.
Dimitri Bivol, #7. Now that's too low for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Bivol should be up.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
Javonte Davis, #8.
Oh, no.
Where should Bivol be? I'll rank them all in a minute where I think they'd be.
Okay.
Javonte Davis, #8.
Okay. Who put Javonte Davis at #8? Do they need my glasses? They had to go Specsavers. Come on.
Here we go, Duke. Number 9.
Go on.
A name that you might struggle with, a name that you guys might struggle with, but he is a freeweight world champion.
Go on.
Jonte Nakatani.
Nakatani. That's a great name.
Superfly, Bantam, Super Bantams. Well, he's a free weight anyway.
Okay.
No, I'm not talking about you. They're all your old titles, aren't they?
Okay, yeah, go on.
How do you reckon you would have got on against Nakatani?
I'd done him, mate.
Easy?
Yeah, I'd have done him. I'd
Yeah?
have boxed his head off.
Schooled him or stopped him?
No, schooled him.
Oh,
I don't
nice.
stop anyone. I like to school people.
Oh, yeah. You're one of them honourable people,
Yeah,
aren't you?
I
Like
like
that-
the
that-
jab, the
Yeah,
jab,
there you
jab,
go.
jab.
There you go. And then scraping in at number 10, Errol Spence. So, right, this is where I'm going to go, yeah?
Go on.
I'm going to go. I think you got to go Alexander Usyk number 1, like undisputed cruiserweight, undisputed heavyweight.
No.
Yeah.
No, can we just...
Yeah.
No, because if we're talking about technical skills...
No, we're not. We're talking about pound for pound.
Yeah, no, we're talking about pound for pound.
Yeah,
right?
the best.
Pound for pound technical skills. Is there a better fighter on this planet right now than Errol Spence? Than Crawford, sorry, not Errol Spence.
No, there's not. Crawford's the best fighter,
Pound for
without
pound.
a doubt.
Pound for
without
pound.
a doubt.
Yeah, but these guys have got Alexander Usyk at pound for pound.
Yeah,
number
no,
one.
yeah, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, but
We're
you
talking
are.
we're talking about pound for pound.
Yeah, but I'm talking about pound for
Yeah,
pound.
but I'm talking about pound for pound. So that means pound for pound. Are
The
they
best-
going to get beat at their level? Alexander Usyk's got to be there at number 1, surely.
No,
Terence Crawford number 2.
No.
Terence Crawford number 1. Alexander Usyk number 2.
In my book,
Anue's got to go in at 3.
nah. Let me say for why. I think Javonte Davies would be number 3.
I like that.
Yeah, he's got to be number 3.
Okay.
Got to be.
Where are you going to put Bam Rodriguez?
Oh, let me just get to that because then we got Inoue. We've got to fit Inoue in, haven't we? So
He comes in at 4, doesn't he?
He's number 4.
Yeah.
See, and then Bam.
So we ain't-
Bam goes in at number 5.
Nice.
Yeah, because I like the technical side of it. I like to see the guys.
Nakatani?
I ain't really studied Nakatani. No, I haven't. No, but I like him.
Yeah.
I like him.
You like him because he's got all your old titles.
He's got all my old titles.
Yeah,
but I ain't
brilliant.
had a chance to study him, so I don't know if he's a puncher or a boxer.
Listen, look, it's a debate that could go on and on.
Yeah.
And you guys will all have your own opinions on where they rank, but we're talking about modern eras, modern day fighters. I mean, there's some great fighters there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, of course there is. And if you look down that top 10, any of those fighters on any given day, you could go, cool, he's number 1.
Yeah,
You see
that's
what I
right.
mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's,
'cause he's good.
It's
that
all
good.
about opinion and what
Yeah.
you like stylistically and all
Yeah.
that. Listen, there's some other news that I want to talk to you about, Duke. Jai Opataya, for me, the number 1 cruiserweight out there right now. He showed his appetite. He wants to fight Chris Smith. I spoke to Jai out in Saudi actually, and he said, "Listen, I want to do it." He said, "What I want to do, I want to become undisputed cruiserweight champion, and like Alexander Usyk, then I'll move up to heavyweight."
Wow.
He says, "So that means me cleaning up the division." Now he's shown an appetite for fighting Chris Smith for a unification bout, and he said, "I want to come to England, where
Really?
the fans are the best fans out there, and I want to box it. I want to box him in his backyard." Now, Chris Smith is looking at boxing the WBA champion. He wants a unification with Ramirez. So, but would you like to see Billum Smith? Where would you like to see him go, and where would you like to see Jai Opataya go? Let's start with Jai Opataya. I mean, he's got to be. He's the monster of the division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, we want to see Opataya. We want to see CBS. That's a fight that I would love to see. But Opataya's actually going, CBS don't want the smoke.
Really?
He don't want the fight.
Really?
He said, we've made him an offer and he does not want the smoke.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if Billy
Yeah,
Smith
same.
if he didn't want that, because he's quite fearless, you know, that boy.
Mm.
You know, I don't know if that's because he's just physically very strong, or he doesn't think to himself, I can't beat anybody. I just think he's fearless. Just, I mean, that's
Well,
just
look,
in him.
if you look at it, he was the underdog at the Vitality Stadium when he beat Lawrence Okoli.
Yeah.
Then he boxes Masternak and comes through hell to get the victory, pulls that around, you know, and then we saw him last time out, again against Richard Riakporhe. Again, you think Riakporhe's done him before, you know, you thought history might repeat itself, but the way that he dealt with that in Riakporhe's backyard as well, rainy night, cold night, that was
Wasn't it? Freezing,
night,
Spence.
mate.
It was horrible.
It was horrendous. But anyway, but you know, so you look at him, you go, he's earned his stripes. He's earned his stripes to go, let him choose where he wants to make that unification. Probably a smart move going with Ramirez, WBA route, as opposed to Opataya, right?
Yeah, but this is world-class boxing, Spence. Anything can happen.
I like that.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you go, I'll take A instead of taking B. You go for A and you get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
you know.
But we want to see the unification,
unification fights.
And there's some big fights out there for CBS, whatever way he goes, and for Oppenheimer as well.
Oh, for sure.
Can Oppenheimer step up to heavyweight? Can he make an impact on heavyweight?
Of course he will, because he'll have the speed, won't he? Do you see what I mean? As we've seen with other smaller heavyweights that have jumped up, you know, if they can maintain their speed when they jump up to heavyweight division, they've got a future in the heavyweights.
I got to tell you, mate, you was good last night on the commentary, you know, and you're firing again this morning. Yeah, do yourself a favour, don't sleep much, because you're better when you're like that. Another big fight this week, Boxers Show up in Barnsley. Barnsley FC, homecoming for Callum Simpson, coming of age fight for him. He gets his opportunity against the proven Zach Chelly. Sort of been there, seen it, done it, loves going in the other guy's backyard. But Callum Simpson, for me, is a super talent. I think that home advantage could be key in this one.
Yeah, I like the look of Callum Simpson.
Yeah,
I think he's
momentum and all that.
Momentum, he's got a bright future. He's on very much on the way up, isn't he? Do you see what I mean? Making the right noises right now. So this is a good test for him.
Absolutely, mate.
Let's see where he is.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great fight, great show up there as well. You can catch that on Sky Sports this Saturday. Good show, mate. Looking forward to it. Look, Duke, I think we've run out of time, mate. If I'm honest, yeah.
Again?
Well, I've got to sleep at some point, haven't I?
Oh,
do you know what I mean? I don't know about you. I got in at 2:45.
Yeah.
So I'm in bed at 3 o'clock. I'm walking the dog at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah. My dog's
It's getting hot out there. Like, you know, I've got a little black pug.
Yeah, I've got a
You know what they say about
the pugs?
dogs looking like their owners looking like dogs. Yeah, so
That's it.
yeah, so I need to get some sleep, mate. So look, it's always been fun. It's great fun.
Good seeing you, mate.
Yeah, good
Thanks
seeing
again.
you, and hopefully we'll see you again soon, mate. And guys, make sure you tune in next week for another episode of Talk Boxing. Till then, we'll see you later.